Eternal life is given, I believe, to a wonderful God I cannot deny.
That's a lock off the show. That's a lock off. And I was just like, yeah, listen, life's responsibilities are upon you. You need to just need to take a step back and just kind of reassess what is going on and what steps and what direction you're going to take. But even in the midst of that, I was so scared.
Really?
Oh yeah. Because you're like, yo, you haven't got it right. You haven't done things in the right way. You've upset a lot of people. You've kind of like done things in a way which is not. This is not right. Do you know what I'm trying to say? Like, yeah, you. And then you're still worried about, and this is what I was talking about earlier on.
Yeah.
So you're so consumed in a selfish way about what other people are going to say. So at the time, I'm thinking like, oh my gosh, this person follows me. Oh, they're going to unfollow me. Like, yo, big man, you've got bigger responsibilities coming, and you're worried about who's going to follow you or unfollow you.
This is the truth.
But it's just that's what I'm saying. That's what was going through my head at the time.
Wow.
Do you know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah.
Very selfishly so. Very, very selfishly so. And it was not until like the new year, I had to kind of just like, and after kind of things that I started having conversations with people who because this is the thing, this is what I've learned. Human beings are fickle. Human beings we are fickle individuals. So it's like we will care for 2 minutes and then it's on to the next thing.
Yeah.
It literally is like that. Social media is fickle for half the time. Do you get what I'm trying to say? They will care for a short period of time, make noise, you see the indirect, and then it's on to the next thing. But we are so consumed with ourselves, we then think, actually, you know, I'm the center of the world, and everybody cares about what I'm going through. And really and truly, everybody has stuff going on. Everybody has something else going on, something else that they're dealing with. But like me and my selfish mindset, I didn't really see that at the time. So,
Did you feel you let people down?
oh yeah. Yeah, that's genuinely how I felt at the time. I was like, all right, cool. Because I did, in the sense of like the lack of integrity that was shown and the accountability that wasn't demonstrated. Because here's this individual who's supposed to be speaking about truth and life and kind of professing how to do things in a way which is godly, in a way which is honorable, in a way which is right, and you've kind of just like, you're doing something else behind closed doors. Kind of thing. And I just kind of saw it as like, oh God, this is your way of like humbling me. And so I remember there's so much I learned in that period of time. And one of the key things I learned was like, be humble or be humbled. And I was like,
the truth.
And God was like, cool.
Did you feel like you had the support from like people around you?
Yeah.
So when
Those who genuinely cared and those who genuinely stayed, they were absolutely incredible. In terms of the love and support and encouragement. That was, I would be foolish to think and say otherwise. And then I remember having a conversation with Faith Child, and I genuinely love that dude. That's my brother. And he said to me, we went out to Busaba, and back in our calamari as we usually do. And he said to me, yo, Trips, when the time is right, the time is right. You'll know when. As in like, have these conversations with everyone. And this was like 6 months prior to baby girl arriving, and I was like, all right, cool. So she came, and I remember I was like, all right, cool. Like after a week, I was like, all right, cool. I need to. I need to, so that I'm able to kind of just focus on the task at hand. I need to. So I just kind of, I remember composing an Instagram message, and it took me about a week to write.
To do.
Sending it to accountability, this and that, and then I remember posting it. And then remember, like even now, I still suffer anxiety. Anytime I post anything on Instagram, I always switch off my notifications.
Okay.
God's still working on me. And then I remember posting it on Insta, switching off my notifications. I was like, all right, cool, whatever, innit. Then my WhatsApp started popping off. I was like, I forgot people can message me here. All right, cool. And then I was just getting all that congratulations, praise God, hallelujah, kind of thing. Super, super encouraging. So yeah, it was just off the back of that, and I was like, rah, cool, this is incredible. Like just like the and I remember, so this is what happened. This is why I mentioned the Faith Child story. A week, no. That was the 25th. 2 days later, Meek Mill, why did I say Meek Mill? Pusha T dropped the story of Adidon.
About Drake.
About Drake.
About the kid.
And then I was like, yo. And in my mind, I was thinking, if you don't take responsibility and control your own narrative, somebody else is going to come in and control and take the story from you and kind of just run with it however which way they want. And I was just like, yo, if I didn't like take accountability for myself, I'd be worrying, oh, who's going to say what? Who's going to say this, and telling stories on your behalf. Really, just like, no, this is what it is. This is where I am. This is it. Bam, take it. Say what you want to say. Keep it moving. Yeah. I remember it was literally just 2 days. It was like 2 or 3 days later that happened, and there was all this. And I just remember sitting in my room thinking, oh, that's mad. That's actually mad. So yeah, and to then honestly say that it's been smooth sailing since wouldn't be the case.
And this is a thing because you start to address these types of things in your EP.
Yeah.
Cry Like a Man.
Yeah.
How do you get to a position of putting all these emotions into your EP? Because there was a conversation online at one point where I can't remember. I think his name was Wise Sammy. I think his name was, and he was talking to Coleman's, and he was saying to Coleman's, "Listen, I want to be able to. When I listen to Christian rappers, I want to hear their story. I want to hear what they're going through." He said that, and I thought it's true because sometimes you want to hear what they're going through, so you know, as I was saying to you earlier, that you're not the only one. You want to hear, okay, where are you at now? So how was that doing that and putting all your emotions, like actually, as you've always done, but putting it where you are now at life into that? EP?
By the way, shout out to Sammy and Coleman's. I remember seeing some of the dialogue and the conversations they were having. I thought that was dope because they were speaking truth. That's just like I respect them for the truth they were speaking. For me, I think I've always been, like for me, music's always been therapy. So it's like, all right, cool. How do I process my thoughts? How do I process my rationale? How do I process all of that stuff? I can, since that story where I told you where I was going to church spitting nonsense bars, from then I learned that I can only write about that which I know. That's the lesson I learned all those years ago. And now I'm applying it now still. And like, I can only write that which I know, and that which I know is that which I've lived. That's it. That's so for me, like putting out this EP and recording Cry Like a Man and writing Cry Like a Man, it was like, this is all I know. Like I know my life and the things I've been through and the things I'm going through and the way that I'm feeling and all that kind of stuff. And I wanted to kind of like have conversations about emotional vulnerability within men and how men don't address these things within themselves, or they handle things like this in the wrong way. So I was like, yeah, let's just have this conversation. I want to have the conversation. I want to have the dialogue. I want to unpack things because I'm not the first to experience the things, and I'm not even just talking about that particular situation. I'm talking about like life in general. I'm not the first to kind of experience the things I'm going through, and I won't be the last. And this is one thing that musicians and artists in general are so privileged to, and I don't think they fully understand. 100 years from now, my voice is still going to be here. Do you know what I'm trying to say? 200 years from now, if they're supposing all this stuff is like technology is still there and the catalogs are still there and nothing's been taken down, like my voice is still going to be heard. There's going to be a 16-year-old in the year 2049 that's going to be coming across Triple O for the first time and be like, do you know what? Yeah, oh my gosh, like is this what he went through? Yeah, let me pat myself quickly so I don't fall into, or okay, cool, this is how to handle the situation. You know what I'm trying to say? Like, and for me, everything I do is focused on legacy, and that's what like I'm about, and that's what the music's about. And Cry Like a Man, I wanted that to be part of the legacy that I'm creating.
So, what would you say is your favorite track and why?
On Cry Like a Man.
Yeah. And why?
It's gonna be alright.
Okay.
It's gonna be alright because it was the first song I wrote even before I knew I was going to write an EP. Okay. And I remember writing the chorus. Shout out to Volney Morgan and New Ye, who are on the track. Actually, shout out to everyone that's on the track. Shiv, Sarah Table, Still Shady. Who else is on the track? Oh, please forgive me if I've forgotten. There was Shantae. Oh, Shantae, love that girl. She did an incredible job, like vocal arrangement. And Volney Morgan and New Ye. My sister Dami, married to my big bro. Like I got like loads of, on different days, loads of people used to come in and lay vocals and stuff like that because I was inspired by Kanye's All of the Lights. And I love the way that on that song, there's so many people in the song, but you just don't even know it's them, but they're still involved in the song. So yeah, Emmanuel Smith as well, he's got some vocals on the track. There's just a lot of people that's just there, but they didn't all come in on the same day, but everyone's just there. So I remember writing that hook because I wanted to sing something to myself when I was in my lowest point.
Like a reminder.
Just a reminder. It's gonna be alright. I can see the light at the end of the tunnel, and you will never let me go. Like it was me just singing to myself. Like when those times when things were just like really like when all I could see was black.
Yeah.
I genuinely would just start singing that to myself. And I remember when I sent it to Shantae, I was like, "Yo, Tay, like I'm working on this song. I need your help, like to kind of help me vocal arrange it." And for months, even before we actually got the beat, like I wrote it to a YouTube beat on YouTube, yeah, a beat on YouTube. I remember just writing to it, and then we just kind of remade it and whatnot. And I remember like we would just be talking in conversations, and we were just unpacking like life stuff. Yeah. And she'll sing the chorus to me, or I'll sing the chorus to her, and we would just encourage ourselves just through that like recitation of that hook. Or I'll be having a really, really rubbish day, and I'll just like, it's gonna be alright. And I said to myself, I want this song to do for me. So I want this song to do for others what it did for me. Yeah. Where people have like a really kind of, they're going through a lot, and literally they just sing to themselves, it's gonna be alright. I can see the light. So yeah.
So what would change your hardest track to write? Because when I listened to it, The Amalgamation of a Man.
The Amalgamation of a Broken Fraction was definitely...
Yeah.
I'm
mixing the two in.
The Amalgamation of a Broken Fraction was definitely like one of those ones where it's like, all right, cool, let's really just like pour out some stuff and just... It was like, do you know what it was? It's because on 0 Not Equal to 1 there was Polo. Yeah. And I got a lot of love and feedback from Polo because it was like, yo, Trips, you're really just... And I'm like, all right, cool. I promised myself, every project I do moving forward, there will be a Amalgamation of a Broken Fraction. There will be a Polo. There will be on Flatline, there was a track called First Cut. On the Overnight Garden Volume 3, there was a Realize. So it's like on every project there's definitely one song where it's like, yo, just unpack, just unpack, just unpack, just offload, just breathe, kind of thing. So Amalgamation of Broken Fraction definitely was something that was like, oh yeah, we're really doing this.
What do you want people to get from this EP?
From the EP, now that it's out, I want people to be able to be able to have honest dialogue with themselves, be willing to have honest dialogue with themselves, and not to internalize their thoughts and their feelings and the things that they may be wrestling with, and be willing just to have like, just be willing to be vulnerable, emotionally vulnerable with themselves and with the people around them, because it's healthy. It's unhealthy keeping it all packed in. It's healthy unpacking it, kind of thing. And I'm praying that this will spark dialogue amongst men. I'm praying that people who hear it will be able to hear my heart and know that actually, do you know what? Cool, like, yeah, you can be real with yourself, but then at the same time you can be real with God, because the whole premise of the EP, as much as it's like, even when you look at the EP cover, you see the clock and it's got 11:35. It's set at 11:35, and the reason why it's set at 11:35 is because John 11:35 says Jesus wept, and that's like the ultimate example of a man. And to weep means to not just, it means to like an onslaught of tears. And I'm like, yo, if Jesus can be that emotionally free and emotionally vulnerable within himself, both inwardly and outwardly, and he can express that, and he's the ultimate example of a man, then who am I trying to demonstrate toxic masculinity and not be willing to unpack some of the things that I'm going through? Do you know what I'm trying to say? So that's like the kind of things I want people to learn and see and feel. I want people to feel it from this project and from projects moving forward. Like that's just where I'm at.
So for people who are like looking forward and listening to this EP, it's going to be people that are looking forward to hearing about you talk about the EP. And there's people along their Christian journey that just look up to you in general. What's one piece of encouragement that you'd give to them? It's all in the slogan, or whatever you want to call it. When I run around telling everyone, screaming, keep breathing, like I mean it. Where there is life, there is hope. The moment you stop breathing, you die. So in essence, keep going, keep pushing forward. Allow the breath of God to kind of just remind you that, all right, cool. Do you know what?
if it's gonna be okay in the end. If it's not okay, then it's not the end. So just keep going, keep going. Like whatever you're experiencing, keep going, keep pushing through. That's what keep breathing means. Like, don't stop. Like push through. And I believe that in your one's faithfulness to kind of keep going, God will keep you. God will allow you to never be overwhelmed so much so that you start to doubt his presence and who he is and his hand, because he genuinely loves us. And the same way that a father will do anything for their child, or a mother will do anything for their child, is the same way, if not if, the same way in an infinite measure, he is towards us. So we have to kind of just be like, cool, God, I'm not going to give up on you because you haven't given up on me. So keep going, keep breathing. That's literally what, like, I would say.
So what's the rest to come for O in 2020? Now the EP's out.
The EP's out.
So everyone's gonna expect a
Come
tour.
Come on.
Everyone's gonna expect dates.
Yeah. Listen, it's we've started working on the album. The album's like, and I'm like, I can say that with confidence. Yeah, we started working on the album.
Nice.
Will the album drop in 2020? We'll see how it goes.
Sure.
We'll see how it goes, but we'll see how it goes. I want to see how people respond to Cry Like a Man. I really want people to kind of just experience this body of work and enjoy it. And it's not all heavy. It's not all deep. There are some vibes on there. There's some. It's, you know, I got to remind the kids that that Triple can still bar with the best of them. Yeah. So no, but it's about making like quality music consistently. That's the problem with our scene. We haven't been consistent. A lot of artists are not consistent. And there are a few that have been consistent, and kudos to those who have been consistent. I haven't been consistent, but I want to be consistent now, kind of thing. And there are individuals who I look up to. No matter, forget age, and forget about how long you've been in the game. There are people who I look up to that I'm like, yo, you're consistent. Like, so I got to shout out people like Called Out Music, Stevie Valentine, even just so many others who've just been consistent with the work rate and with the music that they're putting out. And I'm just like, yo, like I'll props to you. And like now it's about, okay, cool. Once you find your strides, run with it. And especially with oh my gosh, the new generation, the young. I don't even call them youngers out of disrespect, but like there are some new guys I'm looking at from a distance and I'm like, yo, when I stop doing music, I know it's in safe hands. You know, I'm looking at like your R Scars, I'm looking at your Dave Creates, I'm looking at your Still Shadies, and I'm like, yo, these are dons who are
carrying the torch.
Yeah, do you get what I'm trying to say? And they're just like, I'm so excited just to kind of support these guys, either from afar or from near, kind of thing. It's exciting. It's exciting.
So last thing, what encouragement would you give to yourself with where you are at in life now?
That's a really hard question. What encouragement would I give to myself, like my past self?
No, yourself now.
Myself now.
Give encouragement to yourself now.
Keep Christ at the center of everything you do. Honestly speaking, like keeping Christ at the center of everything you do shapes your mindset. It conditions the way you see things. It conditions your worldview. You are able to see things differently. Your perspective on life is very, very different, because you're like, all right, cool. Christ, are you going to be glorified from what comes out of my mouth? Jesus, are you going to be honored by the actions that I am about to take? Jesus, are you going to be pleased with my thoughts? Everything. Like, I have to get to the space where it's like, let Christ be the center of everything I do, even the music that I make. And making Christ-centered music doesn't necessarily mean you're mentioning Jesus everything. For me, I'm like, yo, me and Wretch, me and Stormzy, me and Kano, whoever, we can make the same kind of music. We can talk about the same things. I'm just going to be talking about it from a different perspective, from a biblical worldview, from a worldview that centers around Christ. And for me, as I'm talking to myself now, and as I'm hearing myself speak, and as I'm answering the question, I'm like, cool, moving forward, continue to put Christ at the center of everything you do. Because then that kind of shapes and fashions every area of your life, outside of the music. Because the music, how long am I going to be making music for? I don't know. Do you know what I'm trying to say? Like, I may be making music for another 2 weeks, 2 months, 2 years. I don't know. I'm still going to be involved, you know, even with a lot of the work that I'm doing with Asha Elia, who I've been looking after for about a year and a bit now. But like, or podcasting with G Major Podcast. If you haven't subscribed to G Major Podcast, go check
Love
that
the
out.
plug.
Quick plug. But I'm always going to be involved in music, but it's like in what capacity, kind of thing. And whatever the capacity may be, music's going to come and go. But Christ and everything that everything that we do is centered on, because everything we do is based upon Jesus and Christ and what He did. So you can't take Christ out of the gospel music, do gospel music, and be like, oh, hold on a second, where's the gospel in the gospel music? Not necessarily saying you need to be explicit with saying, oh, Jesus died for your sins, but it's just that having a biblical, Christ-centered worldview on political issues, social issues, economic issues, financial issues, mental issues, whatever, health issues. We're looking after our health. So that's just the advice I would definitely give to myself moving forward.
Triple O.
King.
Thank you very much.
Oh man, it's been good. It's been good. It's been good.
Thank you very much. This has been Conversation with H. He's been Triple O. Thank you guys.